to give you a story that happened, the first extrusion, I wasn't there. It was Dave Verinsky and Dr. Kreutz, a couple of physicists really, that were trying to do metallurgy before Dr. Chipman came on board. And they had a smaller billet that they used, and it was a vertical extrusion press that went down about 18, 20 feet deep, because the forge press is at the floor level, and it had to come down and take it on the runner horizontally. And here's this big husky guy is down there with tongs, of course, and here this bar is coming through, and it's like fireworks. It's coming through in pieces, and all these sparks flying. That gentleman.
Is it reacting with the air? What causes the sparks? The reaction with the air?
Yeah, it's reacting spontaneously.
Yeah.
And
the uranium. The
uranium.
Yes.
And this extrusion press guy down in the pit, he tore up that ladder. I got it out of there. So that was the end of the work for the day. And so it took a little coaxing to get him down there.
Back down. Okay, the time period is now about 1945. The war is just ended or is ending. And the next section, we're going to talk the period from 45 to 63, just before Andy joined the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission. I call this his formative industrial experience years. And I think he has some very interesting lessons for us to hear about. So we'll now switch to Andy, and I'd like you to tell us what was your thinking at the end of the war, and how you decided to now go to industry or something like that.
Well, once the war was ended, unless you lived through it, you know, there was a lot of elation throughout the country that the war is coming to an end. And the Japanese they were not going to give up. I mean, if you really were aware of what was going on, the Japanese had pilots who would dive on our battleships, and they were so fierce, and any island that we were going into, they weren't giving up the ground very easy. We lost a lot of people. And so when the war ended, it also brought the project to a sudden jerk, because what are we going to do with all this now that war is over with? And we could pursue still making atomic bombs? And so most of the top individuals, professors and that, they went back to their universities or the corporations that they were working for. And when I looked around, I was the second senior person in our group.
In the Met Lab.
In the Met Lab. We had a group that varied at 15 to 20 people, I would say. We were also the trainees for DuPont people going out to Hanford. And to different, and also people going to Los Alamos. And I was in a core group at Chicago working on these different projects that were needed to be taken care of. So I had exposure to Joslin stainless steel, and I knew we were going to be rolling uranium, and I knew most of the people. And the average person sitting in my boots probably wouldn't have taken the job. They would be looking for a job in a large corporation. And I had a wonderful offer from General Electric for their tungsten plant that produces the wire filaments for lighting and everything. Mm-hmm. The gentleman who was in charge of certainly the whole operation, the technology, was reaching his retirement, and his wife was spending the winters in Arizona because of health reasons. And so they asked me for an interview, and another gentleman that they were interested in because he was 6'20", so 220 pounds. They were interested in him for the manufacturing the light bulbs. But when I went to visit this General Electric at the tungsten plant, he had a long, narrow office. The entrance door was to the center, and the three walls were lined up with books from the floor to the ceiling, and his desk was facing the door. Uh-huh. So you can picture how it was for any individual going to talk to him. But from that General Electric people, they were concerned. He kept so much to himself, he didn't write it out in the reports that the corporation was worried about how much of the technology would go down the drain when he retired. He also had an apartment right next to his library that he could stay when his wife was down in Arizona for health reasons. And so it was, they were looking for a young guy that they thought could get along with this guy and try to pick up his technology and be able to communicate with him and to take over. They evidently tried 2-3 people prior to talking